Hi, today I'm going to show you the Leatherman Bit Driver Extender, along with the various bit options including the standard bits. Keep in mind one thing to remember is positive bit retention. Having a bit fall out while in use can be very frustrating. At this time, Leatherman has two types of bit adapters, a removable bit driver and the bit driver extender, which I'm showing today. By the way, the removable bit driver is the one which fits over the built-in fillets found in the juice, rebar out of 20 multi-tools using this adapter. Let's start with the dimensions of the bit driver extender. Length, 3 1/4 inches long. Outside diameter of the holder is 3/8 of an inch. Weight, less than 1 ounce. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start with the surge. Right here. This is I'll call it my everyday carry at work because that's where I use it primarily, 5 days a week. And this is the large bit holder. Pull the bit out, take the bit driver extender, insert it, and it's in. It will wiggle a little bit, but it's in there. Keep in mind, this is a kind of like, for lack of a better term, it's a twisting tool. In other words, it's a driver, so that's what it's designed to do. I wouldn't recommend trying to use this as a pry bar. It was never designed to do that, although I'm sure some folks have already tried that. And of course, the bit fits in. This also accepts the standard bit, as you can see here. I'll cover probably more about that later on, but I wanted to move on to the other two. There are about 30 multi-tools, Leatherman multi-tools that use this extender. There are other ones, but they use a different type, and that's usually the rebar and the juice. Oops. And this one, this is the wave, pulling out the bit holder. Pull out the bit. Insert. Likewise, it's the same process as the surge. It does have a little play, but that's to be expected because if it was a snug fit, you'd definitely have a difficult time trying to insert and remove this tool. It does have a little spring clip that, well, you can barely see. It's right here. So that's something to, if you have a problem where it's very loose, you may want to check that leaf spring because it will break or pop out. I've had it happen to me on the surge already, and it is replaceable. On the last one, this is the charge. Now my understanding is the charge is no longer available. This is the, I'll have to say, the forerunner to the other charge TI, and I believe TTI or ITT, whatever, in the aluminum version. This is supposed to be titanium, although I can't verify it right now. The unique thing about, or the unique feature of this particular multi-tool, and I'll show you right here, it has one large bit driver, or bit holder, and it has 2 bit drivers. Now what this charge lacks is probably the scissors and I believe one other driver. However, it does have these two. It does have a small bit driver right here. Early on this was my everyday carry, but then when I started acquiring the other ones, this kind of like didn't go into retirement. I'll say semi-retirement. It's still very usable. However, getting back to the holder, you can use either one interchangeably. This can go to either one. It's both are identical. Lock it in like so. Obviously, it's got a little wiggle room, and insert. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and close it up. Likewise, do the same. But as I mentioned earlier, these are 3 out of the 30. Well, actually, this one's no longer available, but these two are out of 30 Leatherman multi-tools that use the large bit holder that this tool can be used in. There is another bit holder, but it's used in, like I said, the Rebar and Juice, and they belong to another set of 20 multi-tools. That particular adapter is called a bit driver, removable bit driver, and it's designed completely different from this one. Unfortunately, I don't have the bit driver, so I could not show it to you. I do know that it slips over the Phillips driver that's permanently installed in the multi-tool like the Rebar or the Juice. So it just slips right over it, and now you can use the proprietary bits from Leatherman. Or you can actually use the standard bits in it too. So it gives you the best of both. Leatherman did have a tool adapter for the standard bits, but it was discontinued. Okay, I'm going to now demonstrate the standard bit into the bit extender. Before I start, I need to point something out to you all. And I've done this previously in other reviews. Right in here, it's kind of hard to get in there, but anyway, there's a kind of a spring clip on the inside. This does not use a magnet like most bit holders, so there is no magnet down inside the bore. So you're reliant on this little angular spring here. Now, what that spring does is, I'll use this bit right here. This is a hex bit. Is it engages these little nicks, or what look like notches, right here. So when you insert the bit into the holder, it's engaged right now. However, seeing as how this bit holder was originally designed for the proprietary bits from Leatherman, it's a little deeper for the standard bit. So what happens is it'll push in like you see here. Now this one is easy to pull out. So let me find one that's going to get stuck. Now this one, this is a number 2 Phillips, or excuse me, number 1 Phillips, and there it's engaged into the grooves. Now push in. Now it's all these standard bits are still usable. Of course, what makes it difficult is when you go to pull it. Now this one came out quite easily. So, and it's no magnet. It's just a spring clip that engages, like I said, these little what look like nicks. These are actually the engagement notch for the spring. Now I'll use a flat blade right here, insert it. You see how far that sets back. Now I can't even grasp it to pull it out. However, seeing as how you have a multi-tool, and that's what this belongs to, just pull out the plier head and it comes right out. No problem. Just a minor inconvenience. However, keep in mind what you don't want to happen is when you're using the bit holder and the bits, you don't want this item, the bit itself, falling out. At times it can be very frustrating when you're working on something and it just falls out and it drops where you can't get to it right away. So just keep that in mind. And like I said, there is no magnet. Now I can demonstrate with a proprietary, or I'm just pulling off this card here as a demonstration. See, that's all the way in, and this bit, just like the standard, there's your little notch for the spring, and it engages that little round spring in there, just like this. See, it comes out nice and it stays in. So when it sets up, now granted, this does not replace your standard hand tools. This is just something if you have an immediate need for a Phillips or a flat blade screwdriver or a hex bit. However, this, all from past experience, Sometimes this may not fit in certain areas that you need to use this tool in, so just be aware of that. Sometimes you have hardware that's what they call countersunk or counterbored in, and this outside piece may cause interference where you can't get at that screw head or hex bit or hex head if it's recessed in. Okay.
Modifying standard bits may compromise reliability and safety. Recommend against this practice. Having the bit extender and the bit sets is a big plus, and the beauty of the sets is if you already know which bits you really need, just configure it to fit your requirements, carrying fewer bits. That's all today. If you like this clip, give it a like, check for the description below, and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.